be. Might help if I unmute myself there. I'll get that in the edit for the audio people. So everybody, welcome for the Pixel Classroom podcast. Yes, we are live here on a wonderful Thursday night. And if you're in Illinois or anywhere in the Midwest or pot thing, we're all bracing for the next snowmageddon. My guest knows exactly what I'm talking about because he doesn't live that far from me. And he's got to go virtual too because of the snow weather here too. But I'd like to welcome everybody to the Pixel Classroom podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Reed here. Please check us on various social medias as well as check up our current YouTube channel of Building the Thinking Classroom. Episode week 3 will air this coming Saturday. So I hope you guys have been enjoying Jerry. But enough of me. This isn't about me. The guy who's on here, it's all about him. So I'd like to welcome well-known author, speaker, passionate educator. He's also a friend of mine. Him and I actually met in person last year, my first year at my current district and everything. But I'd like the one here, the founder of Yellow himself, the one and only Adam Peterson over here to the Pixel Classroom podcast. Adam, how are you tonight?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. Yeah, that was last year. Was that last fall that we met, I think?
That was, and it was at DeKalb High School, and that had been like the second time I've been there since the school was built, because I worked at the old DeKalb High School many a moon ago. Like,
okay,
it was like I mean, the school wasn't even thought of yet. And I also know, like, oh no, take our guest speaker Adam Peterson. Like, no, can't be that, Adam. Sure enough, it was. And I was like, and then you and I were like, what? We're here.
I remember walking in, and I'm like, I know you, right? It's like,
well, that was and what was so funny is you and I were going at it, and my coworkers as well as some of the other school district people are like, why are they chatting like this?
Like, now we know each other.
Yeah, my former principal and my current vice assistant principals, they were just like, what is Ryan doing? He's like, it's his first year here in the district, and he's like all of a sudden smoozing with like
that. You know what though? That's what I love about this world of networking with teachers. Is I like that. Like, I had no idea you were going to be there. We've connected on social media through, our mutual interest with Dave Burgess and other friends, and I remember just walking in, like, yeah, I know that guy. I'd never met him before, but I see that everywhere I go. I'll run into people when I'm speaking, and I'm like, I think we know each other, and people be like, we're friends on Instagram. I'm like, well, we kind of know each other.
Yeah,
all the time.
And it is funny. I mean, that's one thing that's happened to me the last couple of years too. I was at Mobile Conference in Arizona in 2015, and there were so many of them. It was mostly hosted by Tony Vincent and everything, but so many of us had been talking online between some of the earlier forms, the early versions of Twitter, and a couple of our education. Yeah. And it was like 20 of us all got together. We were all finally in person. We were all acting like we're like old college roommates, all coming back, men and women, and everything, and there was pictures everywhere, and it was just like everybody's like, what this is an interesting conference. These people haven't really met each other, and they're acting like they're old college roommates, like, hey, remember oh yeah, you remember
That's awesome.
Well, Adam, I've done quite a bit of thing, but why don't you introduce yourself here to the thing for our last year, but also for our audio guests? Like, who are you? What is it, and why yellow? Why
am I here? Yeah, so my name's Adam, as you all know. I was a teacher. I was a kindergarten teacher for 13 years. I lose track now. 13 years.
It was somewhere around there. I think as long as my son's been alive, actually, because he's 13.
Okay. Yeah. I taught a year before that in a nonprofit agency. I worked with birth to 5-year-olds. Actually, my first job out of college was with this nonprofit agency, amazing company. Shout out to Warren Achievement Center in Monmouth, Illinois. And I worked in a birth to 5 program, basically teaching parents how to play with their babies, and it was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. So much fun. And then my wife now and I got married. The year after that, moved up here to where I live now in Illinois, and got a job teaching kindergarten. Fell in love with it. Absolutely loved it. Had zero intentions of ever leaving that classroom. I was going to retire from there, but I really had, from day one, I knew that's where I was going to spend my career. And then early, I guess the 20 teens, I started presenting a little bit. And I tell people, actually just had this conversation in Starbucks with someone today, a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in years. I was in there working, and she popped in and she's like, you have been everywhere. how did you get started with this? It's actually my daughter's old speech therapist. And I was like, well, I left the classroom. I was doing this. And she goes, yeah, but how did you start speaking? And it's a funny story. So it was a while back that I wanted to go to the Illinois Reading Conference, which is a really amazing conference in Springfield. And our school wasn't going to send as many teachers that year because of budget and whatnot. Well, I found out that if you submit a proposal to present, you actually attend the conference for free. Like you get to go. So I was like, hey, what if you don't have to pay for me to go to the conference? Can I go then? And they're like, sure. So I submitted this proposal to speak about writing, which is at that point, I had self-published that silly little book right there. My Teacher Has Feelings. Wanted to share with teachers how to get your kids interested in writing their own books, right? And I remember I got put in this space, and I kid you not, Ryan, it was a room that if you combined our two offices together, that's how big it was. Like it was tiny little room in a hotel lobby.
That's like mini speech or one-to-one kind of like group work. Like they like the speech work under the stairs. Like back when I was like in first grade too. Right. Because I was at a private school for the first 6 years of my life, and our one little conference, they had the library, they had the little computer area too. We were one of the few private schools that had a computer area too. But if you worked on these cards, there was like these stairs, and this is what went up to the second grade, which was we were always under those stairs. And the other ones were over by the drinking fountain in the kindergarten first grade room. Then you had the office. I mean, the school's still open, and it's different now, but it's so funny you say that. And I just think of that, like, oh yeah, like, oh, I'm gonna go see Mrs. Topman. Let's work on my S's today
in the closet. But no, it really was. It was
the crawl space.
Crawl space is better than closet. I like that. No, yeah, it was an office of a hotel lobby, but they had set it up to be one of the presenting rooms because I wasn't a known presenter, right? And I remember walking into it and thinking like, there's going to be nobody in here. And it started getting like packed out, and people wanted to know about getting their kids published. And it went better than I ever could have imagined. So fast forward a few years to where we are now, almost, I guess, 10 years later, good golly. I got a gig with another company speaking after they had seen me present there, got an offer to present at this national conference in Las Vegas as a trial. That went over well. And it's just everything has fallen into place. Thank my lucky stars that I've met the right people along this journey who have aligned me with other people who are the right people to meet. And that's led me to where I am now. So in 2018, it took a leap of faith, which really it was a leap of faith, not knowing what would happen. Had an offer to do speaking full time and I guess contract work here and there with teachers. So I made the tough decision to leave the classroom. And did it with no intentions of leaving education forever, right? I wanted to keep working with teachers and kids, and the company that pulled me out of the classroom actually put me into schools rather than conferences that first year. So I had contracts set up with districts across the country where I was going in, doing like a workshop and then going back and coaching, right? And then that company closed its doors in 2020 when COVID hit. So I then found myself going, what's next? What do I do? I'm not ready to go back to the classroom, especially during COVID. Right. And so I started my own business, Adam Peterson Education, and kind of just, hustle my way here and there, getting speaking gigs any chance I get. A lot of it is word of mouth, and I get to go speak to teachers and work with students through my assemblies. And yeah, it's been a blessing, and I just feel lucky that I've been able to do it.
Oh yeah, and I mean you've had amazing too. I mean, I remember when I was reading up on you when everything first came out with teach. When I was getting teach learn here. Just so everybody knows, I actually almost own all these books except for Teachers FPA.
He does own the books.
I do own all the books. Everybody's like, oh yeah, Ryan talking. George Chorus is just like, I don't know any other educator but you, Ryan, owns this many books. In any form. I don't know how you figure out the budgets or how you get people to give you one or how you jump on those Kindles, then you appear in certain books. And I said, yeah, I know.
He's there.
I am everywhere, which, and as you can see, it's nicely tabbed.
I love that.
I used to do Snapchat. I got off Snapchat, and then Instagram wasn't doing what I was, and I do everything with life. But I tab this together. And people always like, what do these tabs mean? Well, I said, well, the green is like I could do this today in the classroom, and just so you know, high school.
Oh, nice! You actually have it set up a certain way. That's a good idea.
Everybody's like, what? What was like? What is with this color? Like, no, like right here. Fishing is a fun way to produce identified and reading sight words. So I did this that year. So I had it ready, and hot shot basketball. So we actually did a couple of vocab words, and then what we did, and I did this with some younger. I was actually doing some middle school things. I didn't do this in high school, because if I did this in high school, they'd be throwing at each other and me, and I'd be in the office, and we're not going there. But anyhow, so that's an example. Is people always ask, like, what are these tabs? It means green means I could go today.
Okay.
Blue means this is, this lines up with curriculum. Like this is my curriculum. Could I use it? Maybe not. But if anybody said, like, well, if you want to try something, well, I have something here. Purple means just like, this is an idea. This is an idea. We'll see, come an idea. Because people like right here, which one is this is water, sand and seashells is what this one is. So I kind of used this a little bit when we were doing our geocache. I did geocache for the first time this year. I got back into geocaching this past summer, December 2023. It's 2024 now. But I got it. So we did sorting. So I actually did a lot of sorts where the kids actually had to sort down geographical locations, area too. So it took a couple years, but the whole idea is right here. Like right here, you talk about the teddy bear boats. I did something similar where we had to make bridges and then make ones that would float in water and so forth. I think that would some
you know what though, hearing you say that, it makes me love that book even more. I mean, it's my baby. I love it anyway, right? Because it's mine. But the number of teachers across grade levels that have reached out to me and Dave Burgess and Tara and all the people at Burgess has blown us away. Because I mean, let's be honest, my publisher, I know you know him very well.
He'll be back later on this season here. You'll be
awesome. But I remember that when I got that contract, or when I pitched the book, the first words out of his mouth to me were, listen, we don't take every pitch we get. Like, we can't, right? There's no way they can take every single pitch. And he said, and to be honest with you, we got to make sure it's a book that can reach multiple grade levels. And you're a kindergarten teacher. I'm like, no, I promise I can do that. So the fact that they took a chance on me, I still thank them every single day when I talk to them. They took a chance. They really did. But hearing from teachers like you and other grade levels has been phenomenal, because people have adapted these ideas to work across grade levels. I mean, I've talked to, high school seniors who are doing some of these activities that their teachers have brought in. So that means more than to not only see that you have it tabbed, but to see that you're using those ideas in other grade levels.
Yeah, and like I said, in your other book here, the science box, which if I click on here, is what I don't have to get out of the tabs. One thing this is one thing I do like about Amazon now. They actually show similar. So I love it. Do it so much faster.
That's awesome.
So much faster than what it used to be but like science, and the thing is, I taught summer STEM here, and I actually we did a couple of different ones, and I did one. The plan, it was divided in 8 days courses, and it's always fun. And I did it as a kid. And the first week is like, we're going to do the solar s'mores oven, which was a huge with my class. And there was a little areas. We did little small things with the box areas too. And this one's because this one was a little different. Like, oh, that's something I could do, or that's an idea. This one is like, he's got so much, this is so much in here between you and Kim that this is one I could use. But I had a couple here where it's like, yeah, that's just not going to happen.
No, you know what? And it was one of those. So her and I, and we talk about, if you all have read the science box, if you haven't, check it out. Kim Adsit is an amazing presenter who has been my mentor in this space. She's been presenting for decades. She's actually retiring from it this year, which I still don't want to accept or admit that she's doing that. But
I don't want to accept it. I've only followed Kim a couple things.
I'm couple of
YouTubes, but I'm just like, no, you're not supposed to retire. This is like my friend's daughter, a couple of them who are not like engaged to get married, one having a baby. I'm like, no, stop. You
happen, right?
I'm not that old yet. Please stop.
So yeah, the fact that we got to do that together was awesome. She lives in Georgia. I'm in Illinois. So it was definitely a labor of love trying to get it done states away. I flew down there a couple of times to work on it with her. We met at conferences, and while we both had breaks from sessions, we would sit in hotel lobbies and type away. And it was a lot of fun to write. So again, one of those books that was written from a kindergarten teacher mindset, but it's so easy to adapt into other grade levels for sure.
Well, and two of my science teachers, and one teaches AP, but she does her not she didn't read your book. She's heard of the book, but she did her own versions of science boxes for AP exercises. So they would have a specific, like, and I think what is AP bio. So she would have a little something, like it would be a box, but it would be written stuff. Maybe there'd be a QR code if she said she really had the time to get fancy. She hates me because I can just like think up on the second and like tech nice things. But I just say, hey, Val, you've been teaching a lot longer than me. You are the queen. I bow to your greatness.
Awesome.
She's even got a tattoo of a chemical formula on anything. That's how much of a science.
Wow.
Is.
She's all in.
She is all in. I love her to death. But one thing was too, like she'll do that and she'll do the little boxes. Like, oh yeah, it kind of sounds like something that Adam and Kim did with the areas too. So it's interesting to see how those curriculums. People think, oh, that's a kid, oh, that's a first grade teacher, or that church is middle school. I'm a high school. Or like, oh, I'm in fourth grade. I'm not in middle school, but the kids aren't at that age yet. They're just hitting those double digits. But a lot of these books, there's another reason why I go into books like this or I Impress or something from my friend Amanda Fox, is a lot of them allows it to actually adapt curriculum. Like sometimes it takes a little bit, but there is a lot of things like I saw a lesson years ago in a pre-kindergarten class. I mean, seriously, 3 or 4 year olds, everything where the big thing is like, are we using the bathroom yet? Where the teacher actually came up with a good way to have them start understanding cooking recipes, and they were making their own applesauce. I learned about apple seed and everything, but she set it all up so well that the later teacher, because it was all connected school, so it was K through 12. So there was the opportunity. You could be at that school since the second you could form words and then graduate a decade 13 years later. But they had a couple of the culinary arts teachers in that class actually used the preface of that, and it worked great for the team building exercise. Amazing. By the time they got the 15 to 17, a lot of these kids, sad to say, don't like to work in groups or want to be with their friends, and even that too. But she used that same formula of what they did for the applesauce lesson in that pre-kindergarten class and transferred it perfectly over to high school. So that was something they said themselves, like, don't say we don't do cross-curricular here. We got something that happens, with the kids that happened 10 years ago if they were here. I'm sorry, 12 years ago if they were here. And we're still using it in years later when they can have a driver's license, back then when they're crashing their little Tonka trucks.
No, and it's I don't know. To me, grade levels is one of those things that is so, I get, like, obviously the span of grades is different from K to 12, but kids are kids. I mean, that's what we need to accept. Kids are kids. And a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old or a 12th grader, 15-year-old, there's not a lot different between them. I mean, yes, there's 10 years as far as growth and growth in the mind and body and physically and whatnot, but they're still kids. They still want to play. They still want to learn in fun ways. And we have to remember that, there's a reason that I mean, I don't want to get into like the politics and all the statistics, but I mean, there's a reason that kids drop out of school, and it's because they're not engaged in learning and they're not having fun. I mean, if we can keep school as engaging as possible and make it a place where everybody wants to go, then I think we would see an upshift in education for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not going to, because I try to keep that pretty neutral here. But yeah, I agree. And and we're not admitting there aren't kids that, like, you could do it to where, like, hey, we're gonna create the next NASCAR and send it to Indy 500. The kids still be like, yeah, whatever.
Right, that's true.
What's my TikTok? It's not that, but there is, engagement plugs in everything else too. And different kids are going to be engaged in one thing. Like I said, I've seen plenty of kids that were engaged in woodworking and whatever, and they could have cared less about history or science, or even, believe it or not, learning to cook an omelet. They're like, oh, omelet, whatever, I'll get Uber Eats. You know what I mean? So it's not like it doesn't happen and everything. But yeah, and it's one thing that's really nice about these books is they are engagement. And like I said, I've had a couple I tried and they didn't work. I mean, I tried. It just, some things, and that's one thing I always say myself too, is like, sometimes they go very well and sometimes, they kind of blow up in my face. And
that's all part of teaching, right?
I've had plenty of stuff blow up in my face.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 15 years. Trust me. I've seen.
We wrote it with that book specifically. We wrote that with that idea in mind. I think, there's so many pages in there that I don't remember every single word, but if this isn't in the book, I know we've talked about it before, Kim and I, saying, like, we don't expect every teacher to go do every single one of these things. Right. And same with Teach, Play, Learn. Like, there is no way that I expect every teacher to take that and put it into effect right away, or even ever. It's not for everyone, and every teacher is different. And I'm one of those guys. I truly believe that every single classroom should look different. Your classroom shouldn't look like mine, and our neighbors shouldn't look the same as ours, because it's ours. It should reflect us and our students. So I love hearing stories like you said, where you have taken this idea but made it your own, and that's my favorite thing about sharing ideas with teachers, is when they take the idea and they're like, oh my gosh, I can totally put that into effect this way or that way or the other way.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and I think it also goes to problem because some people do feel like, oh, your classroom should look like so and so's, and your should. I'm like, no, I mean, and especially like, say we got four math teachers. Granted, they're all math teachers, but doesn't mean they're teaching the same type. Yeah, maybe you'll have like, there's an algebra one this hour, and then this other teacher chooses it during third hour, depending on whatever your block schedule, regular school. But I'm just like, but the math teachers teach different. I have a math teacher who's also a foreign language teacher.
Okay.
Her teaching style isn't different, but the classroom looks much different versus this is foreign language and
Right.
algebra 2 or this is basic geometry, and I think that's where sometimes it gets lost a lot, is people are expecting the mold classroom, and then sometimes they love it when people are doing it. But I've also heard people where they've been told, hey, your lesson was too engaging. Like, how does it get too? I understand the not engaging, and I can also, and at one part I can say, like, you're right, you get so caught up in the moment that all of a sudden, like, hey, we should be cleaning up, or we should have moved to this station. That you're right, maybe I was a little, we all got overboard, kids and me. But I mean, it is interesting where we look for that balance. But you're right, I mean, it is true. But the truth is, like I said, I've had some extremely engaging lessons. I've had the superintendent in my room just flabbergasted, like, this is a really cool lesson, I'm glad it's coming together, it seems a good day. And I still had somebody over in the corner, like, whatever,
right.
But they were just like, I'm gonna read my book. It's like seriously. And even he was like,
like, how are you not into this?
yeah. Oh, so
I think what you said about,
and not that wasn't a good book, it really was a good book, but I'm just like, I hold on a second.
Wait, I got something really cool to show you.
We're making video games and putting them on foam cubes. Excuse me.
But I think there's a lot to be said about that as far as teachers go too. And I think that's why, I don't know about you, but I know, that question that gets asked often, like, who was your favorite teacher? And I have so many because of all their different teaching styles. Like my second grade teacher, Mrs. Crapnell, I still talk about her in my books, talk about her in my talks all the time. She was my favorite. If you had to pick one, right? Like something about the way she taught second grade, I fell in love with her as a teacher. But Mr. Courier, my fifth grade teacher, was one of my favorite science teachers. You know what I mean? Like, his style was, 180 degrees from hers. Like they taught in so many different ways. They were not alike in any way whatsoever, as far as, individuals go, but also teachers go. Their classrooms were completely different, but they were my favorites for different reasons. And I think that speaks to volumes to what education can be. Like every teacher should be everybody's favorite because you are your own person and what you're doing needs to be recognized.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. I mean, we just had one of our teachers just win an award, and she's also a track and field and cross country coach. She got recognized, and a lot of people like saw, and this is our superintendent came in, our assistant, one of the other ones principals, and they were walking past two of our classrooms. Some of the kids went like, why are all the admin walking by the things? And I just said, I think somebody just did a really good job and everything. And then later I found out who it was and everything. And I was like, oh, congrats. Like, oh, thank you, But at the same time, some of the kids themselves like, well, why are they all walking by?
Really?
Why is it
what did we do?
Yeah. That's what's so funny about that. And speaking of segue, so now getting off of those kind of classes.
I know, sorry, we could talk all night.
Oh, we should be sitting here talking about the new Ultimate Spider-Man book right now, but I'll save that for because it's a good book, by the way. Anyhow, shout out to Marvel and Jonathan Hickman and and Cheeto on that. But anyhow, so I was able to find the right image here. So I'm going to present this screen. Audio won't see this too. So this one here, because it's not on his author page. So this is a big one here, which is yellow. And I actually have and I have yellow. I have Gigi's yellow guard, which is really good because you did a story about a guinea pig. You bet I was going to buy it there.
Right.
And this is kind of a story. I mean, I'm not going to go to the reviews because I have to say I kind of cried at the end too. But what came out of Yellow, because this is a very personal book, and you've written the other children's stories too. I mean, right there, you and your wife have wrote them. You've gotten your teachers have a feeling too. But Yellow itself has not only a special meaning. This is actually turned into something kind of large.
Yeah, it has. I still pinch myself that this has happened the way it has. So Yellow, as you can see there, came out in 2014. So 2013, we actually lost an amazing teacher at our school. Her name was Honor Trotter. That's my little doodle of her. But Honor was...
when I first saw this cover, I thought those were earrings. And then later I'm like, oh, it's a little doodle.
Oh, yeah, those are... So that book...
An awesome thing.
That book, and as you can see, my teacher has feelings too. I drew those characters that way because that's how 5-year-olds draw people, right? Like they draw a head with arms and legs. So that's why I did it, because I was so used to seeing drawings like that in my classroom. But so my friend Honor was that teacher that we all know and love, who is the person who makes your day brighter just by being themselves, right? She was she was the glue that held our school together, for lack of better words. I mean, she was just this amazing human being who, you know, made every day better for you just by being around her. And yellow was not only her favorite color, but I turned that into this idea that that's how she made everybody feel, just by being the person she was, right? She passed away in May of 2013 after a really short-lived battle with cancer, cancer that spread like wildfire through her body. And when she you say you cried at the end. I get emotional telling the story, and I tell it almost every single day when I do keynotes. But when she died, we as a school, like we felt like we lost a part of us, right? Like she had taught at that school for 30 plus years. It was her only school she taught at. I mean, she was Saratoga School. There she is right there. Yeah. So my little doodle kind of matches her, right?
I was trying to, like, I'm trying to get over here correctly.
Yeah, that's her. So that was actually that picture of her and I. Our team is in that picture. I should grab it. This is our whole team from that year at her retirement party.
As you tower over all of them.
I know, right? I look like an ogre. But we had a little retirement party for her before things got too bad, and that's what that picture's from. But she was forced into retirement 2 years earlier. Like, she wasn't even planning to retire, but the cancer took it out of her. So going back to like I said, I could talk about this forever, but when she passed away, I knew that there was something we needed to do to keep that idea of, you know, being a good person and being that bright light for people alive at our building, mainly for the fact that I felt like there were so many teachers and students and community members who were going to be coming to this school that got cheated out of knowing this amazing human being, right? So I wrote this little book, never in a million years as an intention to sell it. I wanted to write a book and put one in every copy of our like a copy in every classroom at our school, right? Like, so people could have it in their classrooms. And then I started getting these like invites from schools saying, hey, we saw your book on Amazon. Can you come do a talk with kids about that? And I was like, like I'm just a kindergarten teacher. And it started building and building and building. And that turned into this celebration we do at our school now every year, and now is being done at schools across the country, around the world, called Yellow Day. And it's a celebration of this message that Honor left behind of just be a good person, right? Just be a good person. So on May 9th, which was Honor's birthday, May 9th, every year we celebrate what we call Yellow Day, or Make Someone's Day Yellow, where our school, I mean, we decorate the entire school yellow, streamers, balloons, flowers outside, everything. Everybody wears yellow to school. And then we do random acts of kindness in honor of our friend Honor all day long. And I put a video about that on YouTube the first year we did it. And I started getting messages from people all over the world. And someone, this still sticks to me, someone from Australia sent me a message. I'm like, I didn't know y'all watched my channel down there. Like, what's going on? And they're like, hey, we're gonna do this here to celebrate your friend. And I was just,
wow.
I was shocked. And since 2014, when we started it, we've heard from schools and even whole communities where they're doing some type of celebration to celebrate kindness in honor of Honor on May 9th in over 35 states and more than 8 different countries around the world. And it's all because of social media and people like you who spread this message for us. And that led to the video you see there of me getting to do a TED Talk in 2019, which led to my now keynote / assemblies that I do with schools. So when a big portion of my speaking gigs for 2024 are assemblies with kids of all ages. So like in a couple weeks, I'm in Cleveland doing an assembly for like pre-K through 3rd, 4th through 8th, and then like 9 through 12. And they're all different. Obviously, like the pre-K assembly isn't the same as the high school assembly, but yeah, I get to go share her message, tell her story, and then get other people to understand that they all have an honor in their life too. And maybe they are the honor for someone else that needs it. And it's a lot of fun. I mean, we took this sad situation and we've made it a really, really positive thing that schools are doing. I've been blown away by the schools that have taken this and run with it. The school I visited in Maine this past fall, Biddeford Primary. Shout out to my friends at Biddeford Primary. They are doing it big. It's insane what they're doing there. It's awesome to see. And it's just one of those things that I never in a million years thought that it would get to where it is. And I keep saying we. Yes, I wrote the book. I get to go do the talks, but I truly consider this me getting to tell her story. I'm spreading her message through me, but it's her message. It's what our school started. It's all of these things that I'm just the lucky one that gets to share it.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe it's been it'll be 10 years.
10 years this year.
Started, and there we go. I was trying to get the story going. My internet's being because my son's on PlayStation 5 right now. You know,
Spider-Man PlayStation 5.
Yeah, he's doing on Spider-Man 5.
Okay.
People are like, have you played? Like, I played the Shredder's Revenge. And
I saw those pictures of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, wait until you see what the Perler beat I got coming up in a couple weeks if I can just get my sanity together for a couple weeks. But it's both inspired. But if you've been following, and Adam follows me on Instagram too, he definitely knows what my collection has been recently too, especially what got added to the collection by a small miracle. The fact that even happened by Price, by Pine, and of course then I was like, and the phone bills due. I'm like, yeah, I bought that in time. Especially there's no more coming out till March. Everybody's like, all right, Ryan won't be spending any last Ronin collections.
That's awesome.
I haven't gotten into a collection like this. I'm actually got another episode coming up here where we're going to talk to actually a group of collectors of us and on large areas too, but
okay,
talking about that too. But anyhow, back to yellow. But yeah, I mean it's hard to be. I mean, they're all here too. I'm actually I had one of these shirts and then I threw it in the wash. It got ruined.
Oh no.
I don't know how. I've made things on my Cricut over here, and they're still fine.
See, that's what I think I need to do. I think I need to set up my own store, figure out shipping, and just start making it myself.
Just do what I just did. Get the Cricut Venture. Of course, I got a school grant, and we're doing it for our design space.
That's awesome. I've been following your progress with that.
I just got it running today after everything, and we did a small little thing, and I already talking, so we'll get it too. But some people saw me do it with the Smart Vinyl. Like, that was fast, like 30 seconds. Like, what else can you do? I'm going to do 80 stickers in 2 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, because what I do is I have the kids design an emblem and stuff, and then we put it out in the Cricut, and I cut them out, and then I give them the stickers. So they've designed it, and they get a physical model of it too. So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, maybe I should start making my own shirts. I don't know, but and honestly, the shirts came from. This is one thing that I try to get people like. This whole mission isn't about me selling stuff. My book Yellow, you can actually listen to me read it on my YouTube channel for free. If you want to buy them, they're on Amazon. The shirts all came because teachers asked for them. Like that was one of those things when they saw us in our team picture wearing these honor shirts. That one that you see in the middle there, the gray one, that just got added last year. It's like the original honor shirt from her retirement party with words that mean honor, but also mean her. They describe her, or anybody in your life like that. So every single one of those designs came because someone saw me wearing one that I made with my Cricut, and they're like, hey, we want one of those. And I'm like, well, I can't mass produce these, so let's put them on a website.
Get a hat right there. So I'm hoping my hat will hopefully last when I get that. I don't watch.
And those hats are true. Like
Bonfire's gonna find me and like yell at me right now for doing this. Like, why are you making fun of our shirts? They worked otherwise. Like, I don't know what happened to my shirt.
Sorry.
Oh boy. Anywho,
I can't thank people like you enough for helping me get the word out there, because that's what keeps it going. And it's just like I said, I know that there are a million different kindness days and movements and all that, and that's why we've tried to just make this not just another day. Like, it's something that, and if you ever watch my TED Talk, Be the Yellow, that explains how to get kids to understand that this isn't a one-day thing. This is year round. You should be doing this every single day of the year. And that's really what the TED Talk and then the assemblies have turned into. How to get the mindset out there that we don't need to wait till Yellow Day or World Kindness Day or Christmas or any holiday to celebrate friendship and all that. We should be doing it every single day of the year and recognizing it every single day of the year.
Yeah, and I think that's an important. I mean, people always say that too. It's some things that are recognized to be all the time, like be yellow. It's a thing. It's just like people used to say Earth Day. Hey, celebrate Earth Day. It's like, yeah, just because you're picking that one day coming up the 50th, you should still like, hey, try to reduce or whatever. Just like saying like, you know what, we shouldn't just be one kind day of things. There should be several actors. It's trying to be the better, and like you said, with what honors memory is and everything. I think that's the good message here. I mean, that's what I really like about this. And somebody said it's turned so international is amazing as well.
I still can't believe it. Like,
where was I? Oh yeah, I was just messing around. I was actually checking out some Star Trek stuff here, and it was May, and all of a sudden, like, we're doing Yellow Day over here, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, wait a minute,
Oh,
Yellow Day. I'm like, and I was reading up and all, so I'm like, I know the guy who started.
that's awesome.
And this, and I was laughing so hard because it's over in Virginia, and it's a very small district. I mean, I only know this because my father lives over there, and that's what I was doing. I was doing some Star Trek. I had some talk, and it just came up Virginia, and it's like the small, and it said Yellow Day, and I'm like,
that's awesome.
That was amazing. I wish I could remember the school, but that like threw me just like, and they don't think they tagged you either. They say we're doing Yellow Day based off Adam Peterson, and
that's so cool.
Kind. We should be kind every day here to our kids as we wrap up the school year. And I went, I know that guy.
Awesome. I love hearing stories like that. And it's like, I have a map. You can't see right now because my door's, but I've got a map over there that like a world map that I bought yellow like thumbtacks for, and I stick it in every time we hear from somewhere. But it's like you said, people hear about it and then they're like, oh, I know that, or I've heard that, and it has truly spread because of other people. I mean, I'm not posting about it every day. I have the website, I have the video out there. I did my TED talk on it, but it's been thanks to a lot of people who are like-minded and see the beauty behind the message, and it's been a lot of fun.
And then that's really interesting too, the shift, continue to yell, but yeah, shift here. But it's like right here with Gigi's garden. I mean, that's kind of a very similar thing. And like I said, you did a guinea pig because, after all, this is my book about a guinea pig from outer space here. It inspires. So people have read that book, and Melissa reads it at the kindergarten. Like, that was such a cute story. I want a guinea pig from outer space.
I didn't even know about this. I'm gonna have to check that out.
It does exist. You have to look it up. It's by me and Destiny Wagner, and Destiny is unfortunately no longer into illustration. Just so you know. So this is kind of technically collectors, but it's not. But
okay.
It's you might like it, and some people like the ending and some people don't like the ending, but it's so funny because and I'm not going to ruin the ending for people who don't know the story of Small Hope, but the ending now people relate to it more because they say that's more common now. I said, well, that was the situation. Some people like, hey, I don't care what, I would never have done that. I mean, I know it has a happy kind of bittersweet ending, but there's no way somebody would do that. And then it's like, actually now in 2024, some people do that, or they send it to a relative because like, I can't see my guinea pig go away. I want to send it to Aunt Ruth over here and she can take care of it. And
so is this like more of a young reader novel, or is it more
it's in young reader graphic now. It's actually based off of My Little Story. Some people who have been listening, thank you for listening to me for the last 5 years, by the way, everybody. I don't think Adam has. I think Adam's like, I haven't gone that far back, but
sorry.
People listen to me, and I was actually just voted most likely to be heard around the school by my yearbook. I accept the award. I have my stuff ready for Tuesday. I even did a joke today. The kids are laughing. I said, watch this. I said one of my teachers' names up in the air. And then later on, I went and talked to them. Like, I had this weird feeling you had said my name at some point. I said, see, I'm heard around the school. That's awesome. It's a good and a bad thing. And like I said, it depends on when you want to hear me around the school. Is he saying it because Dr. Reed just excited me loud, or somebody not doing what they're supposed to be doing in the classroom and they hear them? You don't know this story, Adam, and I'm going to tell people who might not know this. A lot of people know this. Mark French does, and a few other people. Dave Burgess knows too. So Small Hope was in 2008. I went horrible situation in my life. I mean, it was like when it rained, it poured that year. It was just like that. And I froze a little bit here. There we go. On the audio here. But I had a guinea pig, and I actually had two guinea pigs. One was S'mores and one was S'more. Well, S'more unfortunately caught some kind of blockage in his foot, and he died within 48 hours. I had taken him to the vet and everything, and he wasn't a very old. I adopted him. He wasn't very old. I think it was like 3 or 4. I'm trying to remember. Because I got him in like 2006, and I had got him from people who just couldn't take care of him anymore, and they gave him up, and I was like, oh, I'll take him. And I was the guinea pig kid. That was my nickname at one of my old jobs. Hey, Guinea's walking by. So I based the book based off of him dying, but the story of Small Hope is about a guinea pig. It's actually from another planet. His world destroys. He doesn't know why. He crash lands on Earth. He gets found by a family, and he looks like a guinea pig. He sounds like a guinea pig. He eats like a guinea pig. He gets he's found by one family, and they give him up to another family. But his people have the ability to inspire hope in people, no matter how bad it is. And the more they're treated with love and kindness, that is. And he is given to a little girl who has recently lost her mother. And it follows the story, and it goes over. I mean, it's a short story, but it goes over the course of her as a little girl playing tea with her dolls to being, off to run to college and everything. But it's a very interesting story about the two of them, about how they helped each other, is what the one story is. I mean, when he's by the end of the story, because like I said, he looks like a guinea pig. He sounds like he can't. By the end of the story, he's able to actually finally communicate with Janice, is the name of the daughter in the book. And at the end of the story, he's leaving. Something's happened. I'm not going to ruin the whole story. Then you can read it here too. But he has to leave, and and his biggest wish for so many years was just to tell her what she meant to him and everything. And he's allowed to finally do that by the end of the story. And then he leaves to continue off. But it's like a very big gift to it. But it was that story. And she even tells him, go help others like you helped me, because there was a situation they weren't able to keep them. Like I said, girl going off to college, older guinea pigs. Like I said, at this point in the story, about at least 12 years have passed in the story. And guinea pigs don't live that long, but he's not a guinea pig. He's an alien. But it is, and like by the end, Melissa reads this to the class, and some people go, "That was so sad. Scar's leaving Janice, but he's gonna go help other people." It's like, but
I love it though. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out, man.
That was the inspiration. And I can't believe it. That book's been out 9 years. It's been 9 years. And then, of course, My Life a Comic Book Story, which is kind of a unofficial biography and graphic novel of me reading comics and going through difficulties in my life. So it's like I got a couple books out there, but like I said, I'm not writing anything else, so I'll contribute, but it's just things.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to check it out for sure. But yeah, it's funny. The guinea pig,
Gigi, though.
No, so this guinea pig, so same story though. Like yours was written because you had a guinea pig. The guinea pig in this story came about because Honor had a guinea pig as a classroom pet.
Okay.
But it was not called Gigi. It was called Merryweather. So the way the story came about, developed was I had an offer from a publishing company, a children's book publisher. I'm not going to name them, but they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we saw your book Yellow at a convention or a bookstore or wherever they saw it. They're like, we absolutely love that story. We've watched your talk. We think, everything you're doing is phenomenal. We'd love to offer you a contract to write another children's book based on your movement." And I was like, whoa, like I've always self-published, So I got on a phone call with them, and they're like, "Listen, here's what we love about the story. We love the message, but your story Yellow is very much about you and your friend. And it goes in the whole cancer mindset behind, like her passing away. Like, what if we develop a book with the same idea, but that children can relate to? Because not everybody can relate to your friend Honor, right?" And I'm like, that it makes sense. Honor's book is very about her and I and her as a person. They're like, "So come up with like a developed character and tell Honor's story through this character." And by the end of the phone call or Zoom call that I had with them, I was like, "So what are the next steps?" I was super stoked, ready to sign, right? A contract. And they're like, "Well, you first have to upfront $5,000 to us." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" And they were like, "Yeah, because we pay our artists and blah, blah." I'm like, I don't think I'll ever make $5,000 off of this book, right? Like, I don't see that happening. And I had already self-published 4 children's books before this one. So I was like, I know how to self-publish. I'm like, you know what? I'll get back to y'all. Like, I left it at that. Totally took their advice. Reached out to a friend who used to, when I was a kid, her family lived on our block. I knew that her daughter was a phenomenal artist. So I called my friend Angie. I said, "Hey, do you think your daughter Grace would be interested in doing a book with me?" Because at that time she was a sophomore in high school when she did these illustrations. And I knew she was a phenomenal artist. So Angie's like, "I'm sure she'd love to." I was like, "We'll split it 50-50 down the middle. I need someone that can draw. I'd like to doodle. I need someone that can draw." So I said, "Here's what I want. I want a tan and white guinea pig with a yellow bow in her hair." And within a day, she sent me that cover photo. And I was like, "Grace, let's do it." So Grace Althouse is her name. She's now a student at University of Illinois, still pursuing art. I mean, she's phenomenal at what she does. But the whole basis behind it is this idea of Honor's story, but told through the life of this little guinea pig that spreads kindness through her little village, in the sense of Yellow and her yellow garden. And the guinea pig came because Honor had guinea pigs. Gigi came about because that is the name of Honor's granddaughter that she never got to meet. So Gigi is a 6-year-old little girl that lives in Ohio, and one of my favorite kids in the whole world besides my own. Love her to death. But yeah, so that's where the name came from. And that, again, with no intentions of it turning into what it's turned into, I get to go speak to schools and share that story with kids, and it's been a blast.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I tried turning Gigi into a guinea pig, and I kept finding patterns, and it just wouldn't work. So
right.
People know when I make a Perler bee design. If you ask to Tish Richmond and her son Tommy right now, the fact that Tommy the Dragon now is a very portion downstairs in my room right now. So
awesome. I remember, that book that they just launched looks amazing. That's what a cool story too, to be able to do it with your child.
And I told them both here, and I'm actually going to be talking to Tommy and Tish, I think a little later than maybe this year before the season wraps up. I just talked to them. They want to both be on the podcast again. But that was one thing too with them, was that I had talked to, but I said, yeah, I felt like Tommy. Like, I felt like Tommy some days. I would always study. I always work. I was very good at things. And this is like elementary school. But there would always be time. Like, I'd always be trying to take the tests. I would always be trying. And I just couldn't do it. It was like, like you knew the materials. And it wasn't, and I mean, and people thought, I was like, that has nothing to do with dyslexia or anything else. It's just was Tommy was very good at that story. But sometimes, unfortunately, I mean, that hits you very hard. So I was like, I identified with the character almost immediately. Like, I felt like, the mom in the story too was like, yep, that was kind of how my mom had to do it for several years, being a single mom, and with my grandparents, but she had to deal with that too, that, I had all this stuff and worked on it, but she encouraged me herself on things. I mean, my mother knows this, so this is not some big revelation. My mom knows this. She's listening to this right now, like, oh, come on, Ryan, just stop.
Stop talking about me.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, that was the thing too. But I mean, the character, and it was. I mean, as I was reading this story too, and this is actually more the one Melissa, like you said, works. So it's hit that age range with the kids. But yeah, it's like the same story and everything else with Gigi and the story with the garden. So yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, I understand. I mean, yeah, it was sad, like I said, with the original Yellow story. But yeah, Gigi's garden, yeah, like I said, it does work in that area from the point. And I mean, hearing the actual origins and everything else, making it's a very good book, and they're very good sister books to each other. One is the one more maybe for a little older with a sad story, where it's like same story, but you got a little bit more of a different adventure and journey. It's like it has a great message by the end without making you want to go, oh, I'm crying now.
Which makes it really so fun to go, like I mentioned, high schools. Like, I can go take this book, Gigi's Yellow Garden, and do an assembly with little kids, and we never touch on her being sick. We talk about her as my friend that had guinea pigs and inspired this story. And then, we can get those kids out of the gym, usher in a whole new set of kids, and I can put Yellow up on the screen, and we can have a conversation about the meaning behind it and really finding that person in your life, and yeah, it's I can't thank you enough, man, for supporting them, because it's definitely one of my heart projects. And I just, again, I still can't believe that I get to do what I do and go out and talk to people, because I'm just a teacher. I'm a teacher too. Like, but I love it. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world right now. I love what I do, and I just feel lucky that I get to do it.
And I'm very thankful, like I said, what you've done out and everything else too, Adam. I mean, it's been very good, connecting with you, but as well as working for stuff, and also know that you're out there when even I've gotten kind of bad days. It's kind of nice to be around a voice.
We all do, man. We all do.
So it's pretty much on that. I mean, it's been an amazing thing. I mean, we've got a wonderful thing. We've talked a lot about everything else, but what's coming up next? I mean, when this is recorded, it's January 11th. We're only 2 weeks into 2024. What is the plan besides, talking virtually to my neighboring school district is one of the reasons.
Yeah, I'm so bummed with that guy.
What do we have coming up here for you here in the near future here?
Yeah, so tomorrow, tomorrow I'm doing a keynote and some fun workshops with Kirkland, Illinois, which can't drive there because we're supposed to get a freaking blizzard, I guess. I don't know.
I am literally 8 minutes from town from where I live. I
know when I saw your post, you're like, why are you?
I leave Cogs Nation. I enter Hawk Nation if I want to go there. I don't go to Kirkland very, but when I worked at Stillman Vale, which was funny, my phone was going off like they're probably talking because they have a normal school there in my former district. I'm still on the call. That's how I would drive every day. So I'd go from Genoa, I would go through Kirkland, then I would go through get into my area of Meridian 223. So then I'd get to Stillman. So it was a half an hour one way, both ways. So it was like one that way, and then
Awesome.
I take one here. But I'm so funny. Like, wait, it was just like when you were at DeKalb, I'm like, wait, what's he doing here? That's 20 minutes around. I used to work there. I grew up in Sycamore, and it's like, and now I live in a town that's only 8 minutes away where Adam's going to talk again.
I know.
And then Morris, we played Morris in Sycamore. We played you guys all the time. We did all. I was in Morris a couple times. Two of my former teachers ended up working there back in the 90s. So it's like,
well, if you get back down here, let me know. But yeah, it's this
I was there about 9 years ago for a wedding. Was the last time I was there.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, I got to get back down there.
This year is starting to pick up, which I thank my lucky stars that I get to do what I do. But got quite a few keynotes and workshops lined up with schools, a bunch of assemblies lined up, super stoked about that. And then thankfully conferences are coming back. Conferences, they all went away when COVID hit, and then it was a slow process bringing, like, I still don't think big conferences are going to be ever where they were before COVID. Because
and another thing is, people always ask me about conferences. Like, if I can go, I will go. I mean, they're not what they were. I mean, even before we got into COVID and everything, I was starting to know, I'm not going to them anymore. They're not like, oh, it's like Comic-Con's been around, but I didn't go for a couple years before COVID. And then, like, I'm going this year because Kevin Eastman and the original Teenage Mutant Turtles, like, I got my stuff. I want him to sign. But otherwise, it's like, oh, you could go. I'm like, no, but there's no one I really want to go to. And you spend the money. And it's like, do I want to travel? That's where it comes in.
It is different, but there are a couple big ones that have stuck around. One coming up in a couple months here, the Illinois ASCD Pre-KK conference is amazing. I mean, if you are a teacher in the Midwest, I mean, there's teachers that come from the country for this thing, but it's 2.5 days at the Schaumburg Renaissance Convention Center. It's been my home conference forever, and I get to present 2 full days there again. And then I just got hooked up with this awesome pre-K company called Frog Street, and I did their big conference in Dallas last summer, and I just got invited back to do it again. So if you're a primary pre-K teacher, early education, Frog Street Splash is an amazing event. And then there's some other like local, like regional Office of Education conferences happening. I've got a few in Texas I'm doing. It's just, again, I can't thank my lucky stars enough that I get to go out and do this. But I started subbing too. Yeah, there's Splash. They just launched registration.
Sure, video people can see this on Splash, so it's right here. Yeah, it's frogstreet.com. I don't really do much, but yeah, it's all right there.
It's so fun. But right I started substitute teaching just because I wanted to work with some kids again. That's been a lot of fun. I volunteer twice a week. I teach special education music, and then when I'm not in a classroom or working with teachers, I get to work at home, and I have little projects I do here and there. I'm working on writing like a thriller novel, but I've been doing that for like 10 years. It's never come to fruition.
But year.
Well, one of my goals for 2024 is to write for at least 20 minutes a day. And I started it January 1st. And I had started this book before that, but it was just a piece here, a piece there, a piece here, a piece there. I've got probably 7 different ideas for novels that are like 2 sentences long and just never put them into it because I'm always writing ideas down. I've got a notebook upstairs in my book bag that I take with me everywhere I go and jot down ideas. And but this one, I don't want to share too much because I don't know what's become of it. But I'm stoked because I'm actually putting that goal like into effect. 20 minutes a day at least. Sit down, write, and I'm excited to see where it might go. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah,
it's just trying to when writers you're not used to go into something completely off the wall here and everything. It's like, oh, he's written teach play and he's played. Oh, Gigi's got now. It's like now coming from Adam Peterson. Did it happen? Like what am I reading? What happened?
Well, see, so I have always been, ever since I was a kid and got into read. I used to read all the time. Back when we were kids, there weren't devices in cars, right? Like I took a book with me everywhere I went. I used to read nonstop. And I fell in love with Stephen King books when I was a kid. I loved Stephen King. And still to this day, I try to collect every book I can of his anywhere I'm at. And I just love that style. And then my wife, Trisha, has been reading a bunch of like, I don't know if they're called, if you call them thrillers, but like housewife type thriller mystery type stuff. And she's getting into it. And I've looked at a couple of the ones she's read and she's told me about them. I'm like, this wants to get me back into writing. Like, And I think that's one of the things as a writer, and you've written a book or two too. The more you read, the more you want to go put your own stuff on paper, right? Like it's, and I remember hearing there was a book that came out a while back, and then Netflix made a series about it called 13 Reasons Why. I don't know if you ever read that.
I actually know of it. Yes.
Yeah, great book. And I saw Jay Asher, I think that's his name. Jay Asher.
Jay Asher. I was like, Sam,
I saw him speak at the Illinois Reading Conference, and that was one of the things he said was, I started writing more because I was reading more, and I got better at writing when I started reading more. So I guess I have two goals. I'm trying to read more this year, and I'm also trying to write a little bit more. But yeah, it's a weird twist, I know, to go from that children's book to a thriller, but we'll see. We'll see if it ever comes to fruition. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it will. I mean, it's like me too. It's like I wrote my life as a comic book reader and Small Hope because they were stories I wanted to tell. I was never expecting anything out of it. I actually did talk to a publisher about Small Hope, and that didn't go anywhere. And I even had a couple of interesting shares by LeVar Burton on social media several years ago, which is a thing. But didn't mean it became a Reading Rainbow book. But the fact that LeVar Burton acknowledged me, I was like, wow, LeVar Burton acknowledged me. I'm like, whoa. And then it was like, whoa, that's huge. That was huge. I mean, and I think I got a couple of sales, and I said, hey, I'm going to go pay off my car right now with it. But
there you go.
As far as I went with that, of my old car, that car's gone, guys. Sorry. That was too many years ago. That was 9 years ago. That's long gone. LeVar Burton's like, Ryan, don't make me come over there. Your last name's Reed. Come on.
That's awesome. No, yeah, I like I said, just trying to stay busy as much as I can. All my stuff is on my website. AdamPetersonEducation.com is where you can find what I'm up to, and also there's a link on there if you want to bring me to your school. Just contact me through that. But again, I know I've said it, but I can't thank you enough, man, for the support. It means more than you will ever know.
No, you're more than welcome, Adam. Thank you for what you've done, the gifts and everything else. And like I said, I enjoy listening to you. Like I said, that was fun at the PD last year.
It was fun.
In introduction and everything. And it wasn't, though. For some reason, I don't know why I could not dance correctly that day. Just kind of things like that. Long story on that, guys. I do remember it too. But anyhow, it was really interesting. But yeah, everybody. However, my coworkers, like by then, I'd only been at the district 4 months. But a lot of them were, yeah, that's Ryan. That's exactly how Ryan is. I mean, you should have seen. I didn't get too much in, but we'd always do the teacher dance at homecoming. This year, our theme was Halloween, so different things. So we did the thriller dance. So nice. Everybody was like, I'm like, wow, I didn't know Dr. Reed could move like that and everything. It's like, I didn't feel like I didn't want to move again after that. But I was like, kids, I'm old enough to remember when it premiered on MTV. I was with my cousin, and we were sitting there in Arizona watching it, and blah blah blah. And I got freaked out by the zombies. You got freaked out by the zombies. I was like, hey, Michael Westmore is the king of monster making.
Right.
Star Trek would not have had its costumes without Michael Westmore, and his son's now
awesome.
Continue. So, Adam, it's been a great time. Thank you so much for being on here today.
You're welcome, man. Thank you for having me, and thank you
for
everyone listening.
Yep, and everybody listening and everything else. I hope you enjoy this on the audio one here. Check out the show notes for everything else, and all of us guys, we'll talk to you later.